Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm 18 years old, and I am the lead youth ambassador for Narcolepsy Network. As you can tell, I am in a public place, so I apologize for wearing my mask, but I am currently on campus where I go to college. So I will be talking to you today about my experience with cataplexy as a patient. So I was diagnosed with narcolepsy when I was 14 years old. I didn't actually realize I had cataplexy until a couple months later. Less than 6 months, but it was definitely a while later. I used to think that cataplexy was normal. I thought that expressions like weak in the knees and rolling on the floor laughing out loud were what I was feeling. When someone made me laugh, I was weak in the knees and I was also rolling on the floor laughing out loud. So I didn't realize that I had cataplexy. I eventually did realize when my neurologist talked to me later at a follow up appointment and was just describing it to me, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not normal? So it turns out that yes, I do have type 1 narcolepsy, aka narcolepsy with cataplexy. My cataplexy has been unusually severe. There's a very wide array of how cataplexy can exhibit in patients. It can be extremely mild and infrequent, or it can be extremely debilitating. So, examples of mild cataplexy could be anything from feeling weakness in your fingers or weakness in your body, but still having complete control. Or it could be something like when you're laughing, your jaw kind of sags, your tongue kind of hangs out, or just like drooping of facial muscles that you can't control. It can also be slightly more pronounced, but not super dramatic. It can be your head kind of sagging when someone makes you angry or someone makes you laugh. It could be the inability to do like fine motor skills with your fingers, but you can still control your hands. Or it can be like needing to sit down, but not like falling down because you can feel that your legs are weak, but you can still control them. And then you can get into the more severe symptoms, which is what I experienced. My cataplexy was both very easy to trigger and very severe. So I, for example, would wear knee pads regularly because if my brother said anything to me that was remotely funny, I was going completely down to the ground every single time. So I have like small scrapes and scars on my arms and legs from repeatedly falling into bushes, falling on the concrete, just lots of small repeated fall injuries. Yes, my cataplexy was unusually severe. I had trouble getting my driver's license. I had to wait to get my driver's license because my cataplexy was so common. I could easily have 10 cataplexy attacks in half an hour. My biggest triggers were laughter, anger, and surprise. So, for example, my brother, I love him, but he's my big brother, so you know how he is. He would sometimes jump out from behind a door or behind a corner and scare me, and I would immediately completely collapse to the ground, head to toe paralysis. So, that's a very dramatic example, but thankfully, taking medication has made me a lot more independent and has made my cataplexy a lot better. So nowadays, if something like that were to happen, I might just feel weak, or I might like drop my arms to my sides, like drop what I'm holding because my fingers and my hands lose muscle tone, but I won't completely go to the ground. More common problems that I face with cataplexy now that it's very well managed is if I'm very stressed, like if my ambient emotions, how I've been feeling like in general all day, are kind of tense, I'll feel my cataplexy more easily. So, for example, if I'm really stressed about a paper I have to do and then something makes me angry, my cataplexy will be triggered. Whereas if I was just angry and I wasn't stressed before, it wouldn't have been. So, I feel like a lot of it is just the environment around me. But again, my cataplexy is much better than it used to be. I can walk, I can drive. I'm not like concerned to laugh because I'm like, oh no, it's gonna happen. So I'm doing a lot better, but it definitely has some complications that you have to keep in mind. So I'm a rower. My Mid-Atlantic rowing shirt said I should rep. Um, but with cataplexy, if I'm feeling a lot of adrenaline, feeling pumped for a race, if we're about to win, I can sometimes accidentally let go of the oar. Like when you're rowing, you have an oar, of course. And if I get really excited, I can sometimes feel my body weaken and I know I can't push as hard. And sometimes I'll even like lose my ability to like manipulate the oar the way that I need to. So the way that I try to counteract that is by trying to just like go to somewhere else in my head if I feel myself getting like really amped up. Because excitement is a good thing, but not if it'll cause me to lose the race. So I'll try to just think about other things. I rowed all through high school, and I'm also a rower in college. This is my freshman year. I'm very excited for when I'll be able to actually row on the team because with the pandemic, I have not been able to. But I I try to use different management techniques. Like for example, there are some days where I tell my coach, I'm like, I know that my cataplexy is bad today. I know that my EDS is bad today. So there are times where I'll just ask to either be put in a less competitive boat, or I'll say I just can't come today, or I can watch but I'm going to have to sit out. So I feel like being honest with the people around you is incredibly helpful, because if you don't explain what's happening, they can think that you have a bad attitude or that you're a quitter or that you're lazy, and that's obviously not the case. I had a new coach relatively recently and I realized I forgot to tell her, and she was like, at the end of races, I can see you just kind of give up. Like, what's that about? Is everything okay? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I didn't tell you. So I told her sometimes if I get really excited, I physically cannot push as hard as I used to be because my muscles are weakened. So what she thought was me like giving up in the last home stretch was me not being able to control my body. So between my management techniques and by telling coaches and teammates, it's made things a lot better. Because it would also be understandably frustrating if someone in a team sport seemed like they weren't pulling their weight. And it's not that I'm not pulling my weight, it's that I sometimes can't. So people are understanding if you tell them why, but they would never think to assume that it's a medical thing first. So yes, I feel like honesty has always been my best policy when it comes to all things in life, but especially cataplexy. Because cataplexy can be so visible or so discreet, it's very important to explain because people will either think that there's something deeply wrong, like if you collapse to the floor, someone might try to do CPR on you. Or if you don't have visible cataplexy, but you can feel it, someone might be like, why did you stop doing what you were doing? Like, what's up? So I always try to explain to the people around me my symptoms so they can best support me. And that is especially true with coaches, teachers, bosses, and friends. If you have a teacher who sees you goofing around in class and then you just kind of sink to the floor, they'll be like, are you okay? So it's important for them to know, oh, I have a condition called cataplexy. I'm fully aware. I'm physically fine. So you just need to be aware what to look out for and not to worry too much. And with friends, they can be supportive. One of the biggest triggers of cataplexy is laughter. And I don't know about your friends, but my friends make me laugh all the time. So if they're going to say something that they know will appeal to my sense of humor, they'll warn me and like tell me to like hold onto their shoulder or to sit down or something like that. Or if they know that I'm having a more severe day, we can change the activity. Like if we were going to go on a bike ride and I'm having a bad day with my energy or my cataplexy, we can hang out on the couch and watch TV instead. So I feel like being open is the best way to protect yourself and to have other people understand what you're going through.